can't help laughing. Omid follows Meghan Markle to lament being a victim again. Meghan Markle's mouthpiece, Omid Scobie, claims he was a victim of prejudice from very senior royal aide who found it peculiar how well he spoke and said loaded comments. It shows a level of unawareness at the palace. The media ally of Meghan and Harry said the unnamed person found it really peculiar that I spoke as well as I do as someone who is different and issued a very loaded comment that demonstrated the level of unawareness at the palace. Like his bosses, Scobie will say anything to control the narrative and to get the headlines. What's more worrying and far more important is his own lack of self-awareness. He is so biased, it's embarrassing. He brings shame to his profession, his experience. Anecdotes are something so many experience. Mr. Scobie is different, and he added, I myself have experienced some prejudice from one or two royal aides in the past, but asked to clarify whether he had suffered, the Finding Freedom author said, I would not name that person, someone very senior within the palace who found it really peculiar that I spoke as well as I do, and that was pretty much how they said it to me. Do you see a familiar motif? Another one accusing without mentioning a name? Actually, it makes it worse when they refuse to name who allegedly said it, as fingers get pointed left, right, and center. If he is speaking the truth, then shame the devil and name the person. Because if you named them, they would have their chance to tell their side of the story, which, like everything else, probably wouldn't add up. You can take offense at anything anybody says at any time if you so choose. Moreover, he explains, and I'm used to, where are you from? Where are you really from? And all that kind of stuff. But that was a very loaded comment, and I'm sure it came not from a nasty place, but it just shows perhaps a level of unawareness within certain quarters of the institution. It's not a loaded comment, it's a compliment. Whenever someone at work has to speak in front of a crowd, I'll do the same thing, regardless of their background. To be able to speak eloquently is such a gift. Maybe because he is hardly part of the official press pool, and would it be easy to disprove if he named and documented when? The person he chooses to smear might be able to clearly document if it didn't happen. Much better that he copies his preceptress and leaves a vague, unprovable comment to smear the institution as widely as possible. How low can the Markle camp go? Her caravan is off the wheels. Just when you think they're at their lowest, they find a way to prove us wrong. I find everything about him peculiar. How he repeats whatever Meg tells him to say, and how he appears to be morphing into a looking like Meg. And I've never even heard him speak, but I imagine that would be peculiar also. Lacking of understanding and experience of being with people from all backgrounds, many people who work at the palace come from many different backgrounds and areas of education. It's nothing to do with that. He could, of course, have turned the conversation round to accepting the comments as a compliment. Trouble is that anyone associated with the Sussexes are looking for bothering, and they're looking for the bad in anything to do with the royal family. Inferiority complex, and if the truth be told, Harry often speaks a rather sloven lad's patter. On the other hand, possibly he faced scrutiny and reception that he didn't care for. But the fact is, the Omid thingy is constantly representing himself as a royal insider when he works for people who simply haven't been doing royal duties for several years now, and who no one considers being royal. So some aide during questioning commented on him and how well he spoke, and he immediately took it as produce. Pathetic, and a typical reaction of the weak and entitled. ITV, I remember now why I can't bear to watch your Good Morning program, no matter how sick and bored I am in bed, because you entertain the ridiculous people like him on the program. You give him an audience, and by proxy, relevance, so he is then entertained by U.S. TV stations, and the cycle continues onwards. Leave him on Twitter in the echo chamber where he belongs, for the love of God. But royal aides are just nobodies, according to Meghan. She thought they were there at her beck and call at all hours of the day and night to cater to her every whim. Got the shock of her life when she was told to treat him with respect, and they were there to advise her, not the other way around. Firstly, a senior royal aide, so not a senior royal. Secondly, taking offense to a compliment. How can you go on national TV and try and justify it? I really don't find Scobie credible in this regard. He provides no context in relation to the conversation. I would say the biggest victim of all of this is our great queen. People are getting fed up with all her baseless comments being said and written about her. It must really be upsetting for her. Why are we to hear so much from people whose problems are trivial and hear so little from people whose problems are truly heartbreaking? Someone said that Scobie speaks very well for whatever. In the UK, to be referred to as well-spoken isn't limited to negative accents, speech, or class stereotypes. It can also be a compliment and an acknowledgement on the breadth of knowledge of a particular topic not generally well known by others, and expresses the enjoyment factor of conversing with someone of this caliber. Get over yourself, get a real job, and stop with the gossip. Still, disappear to the US and hang with your royal who's been friends. Palace aides work extremely hard at their jobs. They're already extremely busy looking after family that's fiercely under the public eye, and since 2020 under attack from an ex-member of their own family. The aides don't have time to check in advance of previously obscure spokesman employed by two ex-royal rebels. Actually, when I first heard Mr. Scobie speak on BBC News once, I was shocked he had a totally British accent and not a full-blown American one like I'd expected. Never having heard him speak, I'm forced to judge his words as they are quoted. Although he may sound his words are well, his actual capacity to form coherent sentences seems a little bit overstretched. The level of unawareness, as opposed to the lack of understanding, indicates my point. People make lots of comments to me about various things and stuff that's happened to me. My mental health, my disabilities, all could otherwise be offensive. If that's the way you look at it, I personally take it on the intention of the person who said it, usually as a compliment or trying to be nice and helpful. It's not all about what was said, but how it was said. Stop being so precious. As a fan explains, I was a guest at Windsor Castle and experienced nothing but humility, care, and gentleness. They go out of their way to make you feel welcome. At a very well-heeled do elsewhere, I was challenged by an aristocratic male asking, "So how does someone like you get to be somewhere like this?" Put-downs were one after the other, and I felt terrible, though he was further stunned to find I was a guest of honor and he had to stand and toast me. That was quite funny. Obi, it's not a class thing. Get over it. When you move in different circles, there will be comments. Whatever. You've made your job to tear others down. Be public. Don't make it an issue. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe your royal family story. Another agreed and added, I've also been a guest at Windsor Castle. The very senior aides were more down to earth and lovely and went out of their way to make sure that I felt welcome. I was 19, very awkward, and they managed to make me feel completely okay. No one undermined or insulted me or my lack of ignorance or experience. In fact, they were really earnest and kind. They were a different class to me, a better class of respect, and I've always remembered and hugely respected that.